All right. So thank you both for joining us so much. I am excited to be able to share some updates with Arts and Cultural Partners. My name is Sam Green. This is Arts Everyday's 24 school year 24-25 Arts and Cultural Partners info session. So our agenda for this meeting, we're going to start with just brief introductions to the AED team members that you might be interacting with throughout the school year as an arts and cultural partner. And then we'll jump into just a brief overview of how Arts Everyday works with arts and cultural partners. Then we will get to the exciting stuff, some updates to our schools program for school year 24-25, and then also some updates to our arts directory for school year 24-25. And then to round things out, we'll talk a little bit about the supports that we have planned for arts and cultural partners during the school year. And then lastly, we'll have time for questions and feedback. So first, just an introduction of the folks from AED that you will likely interact with as an arts and cultural partner. So I'm Sam Green. I am our arts integration schools manager, and I primarily get to work with our schools, our partner schools, and schools that receive funding from us. And our arts and cultural partners, I get to be the connector between those two groups. And so I am the best place to start with any questions, concerns, thoughts that you have about interacting with Arts Every Day as an arts and cultural partner. I can help with booking problems or questions. I can help with directory setup issues if you need support navigating how to set up your directory profile. And we'll take a closer look at the directory in a moment. My colleague Betty Gonzalez is in the call with us as well. Betty is our director of operations, and Betty is the primary contact if I'm out. Betty is also really the keeper of the directory and the website, and is who I go to if I cannot answer your troubleshooting questions about the directory and the website. Betty, though, is incredibly helpful as well about a lot of things in AED land. And then we also have Ollie Ambrose, our accountant. You might receive emails from Ollie about payments. I know that Ollie is really good at trying to help folks figure out how we can make sure we get you your payments on time. So Ollie is available, and again, someone I might turn to, and then you might also hear from. So an overview of just generally how we as an organization interact with our arts and cultural partners. So our mission as an organization is the arts for every student in every Baltimore City public school every day. We are really zoomed in on just Baltimore City schools, specifically school day programming, just knowing that when we're talking about access, every student should be in school during the school day, whereas things like after school, before school weekends, those can become kind of tricky access points for students. So that's why our focus is so strongly school day programming, and really focused to Baltimore City. Um, so through that lens, as we work to increase equity of access to the arts for students across Baltimore City Public Schools, we work with a wide array of arts and cultural partners. And those arts and cultural partners include individual teaching artists, organizations, museums, larger institutions. We have a really beautiful, I think, breadth and depth of arts and cultural partnerships. We interact with those partners primarily through two approaches, through two prongs, I guess. First, we host the Arts Directory, and that Arts Directory is a place where arts and cultural partners can list their school day programming. And the Arts Directory is meant to be easily accessible so schools across Baltimore City can quickly and easily find programs to meet the learning needs of their students and community. We'll look at the directory shortly. And then we also work with arts and cultural partners when we are working to provide teacher professional development. So teacher professional development for Arts Every Day, we have an annual summer conference that takes place early August every summer, with a lot of different sessions, but also there is a arts and cultural partners provider fair during the conference. We'll talk about that in a moment, just as a way for arts and cultural partners and schools to meet and connect to hopefully plant some good seeds for collaboration. In addition to our summer professional development throughout the school year, we try to offer a variety of in-person and virtual professional development centered around the arts and arts integration to enrich teachers' arts integration toolkits. So the arts directory that I've mentioned a few times, if you are not familiar, these are some screenshots of what it currently looks like. So on the left, you can see an arts and cultural partners page. This is the Arts Everyday program page. You can see the programs that we offer, and you can see our contact information and a brief description. So arts and cultural partners can create their own page that has their overall description and then specific program descriptions as well that schools can access during the school year. On the right, you can see what a school view of the directory looks like. So schools can log in and they can track the funding that they receive from Arts Everyday. They can track the way that they're using that funding to book programs from providers in the directory. And then this is a text heavy slide, but I just want to quickly talk through what that booking process looks like in case anyone is not familiar with that. So like I mentioned, arts and cultural partners set up their page in the directory so that it has a little bit about their organization and that it has a listing of all the programs that they can offer Baltimore City schools during school year 24-25. Once arts and cultural partners have updated the directory, it should be full with all these great things for school year 24-25. And then educators who receive funding support from Arts Everyday are able to log into their school's account, find the programs that they would like to book, and use a request to book button to fill out a booking request form. That booking request forms lets schools tell a provider like what program they're looking for, what timing they're looking for, how many students, audience, and grade level, and all that good stuff. Once a booking request has been made by a school through our system, the arts and cultural partner receives an email notifying them that a booking has been requested. And that email will prompt the arts and cultural partner to log into their account to view the booking request details. We ask that arts and cultural partners, after logging in to view the request, that they try to follow up with the school's primary contact within 72 hours. So when you receive a booking request as an arts and cultural partner, there will be an email listed for the primary school contact, and you'll just follow up directly via email with that teacher to talk through logistics of the program booking. After all details are agreed upon between the arts and cultural partner and the school, as an arts and cultural partner, you'll have a space to upload an invoice to the pending program. And once you upload that invoice, it notifies the school's primary contact. So the school's primary contact can then log into the system, view the invoice, and either email you if they have any other questions or check that it is approved. Once the school has approved the invoice, then I get notified by our system that we are clear to pay that invoice. So once I'm notified the invoice is approved, I download the invoice, I share it with our accountant for processing. And we process invoices on Fridays. Once processed payment can take 7 to 10 business days to arrive. So that was just a very quick rundown of how the booking process works. And just something else that I want to highlight, because we really are trying to make sure that we communicate as clearly as possible with partners and schools about like where they are in the booking process. So now at the bottom of all of the emails that you receive about a pending booking, you should see what Betty and I have been calling the Domino's Pizza Tracker of your bookings, so that you can see where you are in that process. So this screenshot is taken from a booking where the invoice has been processed. So that part is highlighted in green and everything before it is checked off. So we are really hoping to make sure it is clear to you guys as partners where you are and where you need to go. Just knowing that we want to make sure we're being really clear about payment and when those things can be expected. So that was kind of just our general overview of like how the directory system works. And so now I'm going to shift into talking about some exciting changes for this upcoming school year. So in the past, Arts Everyday has had one partnership model. However, this year, excitingly, we have opened up 3 opportunities, 3 different ways that schools and educators across the district can interact with Arts Everyday. We will still have an arts integration school partnership model, which if you've been a partner with us before, then you're familiar with what that will basically look like. The difference is that we will have fewer partner schools. So we will have 10 partner schools, which are going to be city schools that work with us really closely to achieve some specific arts integration goals. Those 10 schools will receive enrollment-based funding for experiences booked through the Arts Directory. And those 10 schools have some documentation, some planning work that they need to do before their funding is released. But once we have that documentation done, their funding is released and those schools will be able to start booking. So in the past, schools have gotten that, a lot of schools get that paperwork accomplished and start booking by like early to mid fall, but it does vary school to school. We are hoping with fewer schools, a closer relationship with those fewer schools will mean we can support them in getting that paperwork and that planning done sooner. So we will still have partner schools with enrollment-based funding, but now we will also have two additional kind of buckets of support. The Arts Integration Educator Partnership and the Arts Experience Fund. And these are kind of connected in the way that you as partners will interact with them. So the Arts Experience Fund came out of feedback from schools that some schools still valued the arts and access to the arts for their young people, but maybe didn't have the capacity for full partnership. So the Arts Experience Fund is intended to just be a really accessible grant program where any Baltimore City public school can apply for up to $2,500 worth of experiences booked through the directory. And the other nice thing about this is there's less of that planning paperwork. So we are hoping schools will be able to access the funding sooner. So there are two grant application periods. One opens August 19th during teacher pre-service week and goes till I think around Thanksgiving break. And then the other grant period will open after winter break and be open through spring break. But we're hoping that the Experience Fund allows some schools to get the ball rolling sooner who are ready to start booking experiences right when the school year starts. And those applications will be approved, reviewed and approved on a rolling basis throughout the school year. So we're excited to have more schools accessing funding through that Experience Fund. Educators that participate in our Arts Integration Educator Partnership, which is really meant to just be kind of like a virtual PLC for teachers who want to learn more about arts integration. Those Arts Integration Educator Partners will have guaranteed access to Experience Fund funding. So those educators, up to 25 educators, will have dedicated, set aside for them Arts Experience Fund funding, and then we will have additional grants available for, I didn't put the number in here, but available for, I think it is up to 30 more schools to access Experience Fund funding. So with this shift, I think the biggest impact that we are anticipating it having on arts and cultural partners is that there will be more unique schools accessing funding and booking through the directory. And I think we're just working really hard, like I said, to make sure we're improving the clarity of our communication so that even new school users to the system will know how to use the directory and be able to navigate the booking request system so that they can interact with you all as partners and make bookings happen in a timely manner. So we are continuing to work on improving the directory and improving our communications. In just a moment, I'm going to hand it over to Betty to talk about some exciting directory updates. We are also going to add to the directory page resources for arts and cultural partners, resources for schools that will have like step-by-step booking guides and resources so that those new users to the system will be able to find resources to help them book. And then the other impact for arts and cultural partners that I mentioned that I'm excited about is I'm hoping that we have some schools that are able to access funding earlier in the year and get that ball moving sooner with getting some great experiences for their young people. The supports that we are thinking about, given the fact that we'll have more unique schools accessing funding, we are really trying to make sure that arts and cultural partners, like that our schools know about the great variety of arts and cultural partners. So During our summer conference on Thursday, August 8th, from 1:30 to 4:30, we're hosting an Arts and Cultural Partners Provider Fair, where arts and cultural partners can sign up to have a table and share like flyers or QR codes or whatever works for you about the programs that you're offering during the school year. That way, teachers who are attending the conference can learn about programs that they might want to, apply for grant funding for, and connect face to face with some of these arts and cultural partners that they'll be seeing in the directory. I think everyone should have gotten an email because Betty's, I know, been following up a lot about trying to get folks set up with tabling. But if you have not heard from us and you are interested in tabling, please feel free to email Betty. Betty's email is just betty@artseveryday.org. It's also on, I think, the second slide in the deck too. Also, just to try to support, again, the fact that we'll have new users in the system. On that resources page for schools, we're hoping to put together some guidelines around how to have the best possible experience with your AED funded program. And at the end of this deck, there's a link to a slide so that if you have feedback as an artist or organization on what should be in that guide, you can add it. Right now, we're just thinking like tips that might be helpful. Like if you're a new teacher booking a program for the first time, things like make sure to tell the front office, talk to your students about what it's like what it's like to be a good listener or to be a good audience member. So we're trying to put together some guidelines, again, just so that they are there for those folks who might be new. And then lastly, again, like I mentioned, really exciting directory updates, just aiming to make the directory as accessible and user-friendly as possible. Which brings us to more about those updates. So I'm going to turn it over to Betty so Betty can share a little bit more about what is underway with the directory.
Yeah, thanks, Sam. I also put my email in the chat, so if you want to grab it from there and let me know that you want a table, there's plenty of space, so just let me know. Very exciting changes that are happening over the summer. We are overhauling our directory to make it a little more mobile responsive, a little faster. If you've interacted with our directory over the last couple of years, you realize it's a little on the slow side. It's very old, and while it was super innovative when it first came out, it is a little dated. So we're bringing it up to speed with today's needs. And it will be something that you can easily look and search through on your phone, especially for teachers needing to do a quick search for a program during their lunch break or their planning period. We're thinking of those things. We are improving the search and filter functionality with an emphasis on keywords. What this means is as you're updating your programs over the summer or adding new programs, really think about what those keywords are, because teachers are going to have the ability to just go and type in a keyword to look for a specific program, and we don't want yours to fall through the cracks if it's relevant. So think about any particular way that somebody could think about your program. So if a teacher wants to just type in drums, or if a teacher just wants to type in math or ELA or social emotional learning, those things you want to make sure are in there. Any aspect to your program, really think about those keywords. That's going to make you pop up in those searches and increase your chances of getting booked. Streamline forms and clear communications while using the system. Sam mentioned the pizza tracker. We want to make sure that you are very aware of where you are in the step of the booking process and what responsibilities are yours and which responsibilities are the teachers. So of course, as you're moving through the system, everything as far as language should look the same. We're mostly updating the overall visual look and aesthetic of the site. And there was a question, will there be a place on the listing form to input keywords and perhaps even suggestions for what keywords get used? There will definitely be a spot for keywords. There should be one now. There's one for keywords and categories, so make sure you're looking for that. As far as making suggestions, I can see if that's something that it can be in there. Maybe make some suggestions based on the program description. But really make sure that you're thinking, even if you have somebody that's does some similar work as you do, or you go in and just do a keyword search and look who else is popping up and make sure you're popping up at the same time. But I'll find out as we're doing the development now to see if there can be a suggestion option, like some suggested keywords based on what you've inputted. So good question. Thank you.
The other thing that I mentioned too that feels minor and major at the same time is that there should now be a character count alert. If you type something in and you go over the character count, previously the directory just was like, it wouldn't let you save it, but it wouldn't tell you why. But now you'll just get a notification that you need to shorten to get down to the character count, which is really exciting in my in my opinion. Um, Again, just these small things that should make it more user friendly. So you are welcome to go in and update your listings whenever. I would generally, like I said, the first grant application window will open August 19th. And if you go in and update them, like the new system is still in the works, but will be, Betty, you can talk more about that timeline. But like, even if folks updated listings tomorrow, once the directory refresh kicks in, it'll just pull all their old listings. They will just be much better, much clearer, much more clearly presented.
Yeah, and we're hoping to roll this out right before the school year starts. So there's, don't hesitate to go in and start making your updates now, despite how the site looks. I promise it'll be a much better experience next summer, but for this summer, go ahead and get your stuff in there. Because the grant date opening, with it being August 19th, you want to make sure your stuff is in there once people are able to start booking.
And if anyone needs help logging into their account, that is a very easy thing for me to help with. So if you go to log in and cannot remember your password or anything from last year, I am happy to help get you logged back in. Or like if there's been staffing changes at your organization, you can't change the primary contact on your account, but it is very easy for me to do that. So please just let me know if you need help changing a contact or changing a password. Happy to help with that. Um, okay, so some additional supports in place and just additional opportunities. This year, through a partnership with Baltimore Children and Youth Fund, we've actually been able to add a stipend for independent teaching artists and BCYF grantees to be able to attend our summer conference. So it is free to table that second day. Like if you just want to come on the second day in the afternoon and share your programming with teachers by tabling, you are welcome to do it. And that is free, of course. But if you want to attend as a participant and you are either an independent teaching artist or your organization is a BCYF grantee, there is now a separate registration link that waives the registration cost and makes you eligible for a stipend to attend through that BCYF partnership. And I will share this slide deck also via email on Friday, and we'll probably put it up on the website as well. So all those links will be in there. Another avenue for support, again, we really want to make sure that teachers know about the great things that arts and cultural partners are doing. And so we try to pretty regularly promote what our arts and cultural partners are up to. We do that through blog posts, social media shares, and our teacher email. So Betty does a lot of our social media work and keeps an eye on what we're tagged in. And so if your organization is doing something really great that is of interest to Baltimore City Public Schools teachers, feel free to tag us and we're happy to reshare things and stories. We also regularly post partner spotlights on our blog on our website. We try to also put those up on social media as well. Where we highlight a specific program or a new organization just so that schools and educators are seeing what's out there. And then every week I send an email to all of our partner teachers, and at the bottom of every newsletter, I have just an arts and cultural partners opportunities section where I try to pull anything that I've gathered from, like, I try to follow most of our arts and cultural partners on social media and things like that. So if I see that you're having an event or a new program that relates to teachers, I always try to pull those things into the bottom of my teacher emails. But if you have something specific, feel free to email me and I'm happy to add it to my teacher newsletter that week as well. Oh, just the last piece too. When you are booked by schools, I try to visit programs often so that that's another way that we're putting that we're highlighting arts and cultural partners offerings. And I'm looking forward to hopefully being able to visit more of the programs now that I will have less schools to manage, but to be able to visit more schools and see programs in action, because those are other blog posts and social media posts that we try to put out there. Photos from school visits where we actually get to see arts and cultural partners in action with students. I think we are almost wrapping up. So the other support piece that we're working on, and we are really trying to reflect and think about what our role is in supporting arts and cultural partners and how we can, be an asset to this great community that we're a part of. So we've put together our second arts and cultural partners landscape survey. The link is in this slide deck. I'll also be sending it out on Friday to all of our arts and cultural partners. Um, with this survey, we are hoping to get a really clear picture of what programs are being offered to city schools, what programs are actually being accessed by city schools, and how we as an arts and cultural partner community collectively can better support more equitable access to the arts for students across Baltimore. When we did this survey last year, we realized there were some schools that weren't really accessing many arts partnerships. And so we're really hoping that we can support arts and cultural partners in schools in making more connections. So this wealth of arts and cultural community that we have in Baltimore is accessible by all students. So this survey, if you have a chance to take it, we really appreciate it. It helps us think about where those gaps are and how we can collectively spread the wealth better across the district. And in partnership with that survey, we're going to be hosting, I believe, 2 more arts and cultural partner convenings this year, one in the fall and aiming for one in the spring as well. At those convenings, that'll not only be a place to connect and network with other arts and cultural partners, but also to look at that survey data so that we can really collaboratively think about next steps to support more equitable access for students across the district. Okay, so I think this is my last slide. So uh, if you have feedback on being a partner in general, like ways that we could be a better partner to you as arts and cultural partners, or just want to share what's working well, what could be improved, there is a feedback survey that is fully optional, because I know we all get many surveys these days. But if you have thoughts that you want to share with us about how we can improve our relationship with arts and cultural partners, there's a separate feedback survey. That feedback survey also has the space where, like I said, if you have tips for, oh, I wish schools knew this before they booked a program with an arts and cultural partner, you can add those thoughts to that survey as well. In addition to the survey, though, please feel free to reach out if we can help. We truly want to foster really strong relationships between schools and arts and cultural partners. And your feedback helps us to do a better job of that. So you're always welcome to email me. There's a link to my Calendly to schedule a meeting with me. The other just thing that I want to recognize is, like, I know that our lens is super zoomed in on Baltimore City Public Schools, whereas most of our arts and cultural partners have a much wider geographic area of focus. So thank you also just for like making space to join us and to think specifically through, this area that we're really passionate about, of equity of access for Baltimore City Public Schools. So thanks for your time. There are options for feedback there. Any questions that we can answer or write down and come up with an answer to?
I have a question. So I had a couple of schools reach out for requesting a booking that they didn't really understand the way our listings were showed to them about like the timing for things. So like we have, especially for some of the arts and science integrations, it's better if we can have like 2 sessions that are like a week apart at least. And it was really, really difficult to put that detail in the listing because of the way the form fields are. So yeah, if maybe there's some way to make that just a little bit more flexible. I know you're trying to keep things standard so that they're searchable, but if there's a way to keep the searchability and make it a little more flexible too, that would be awesome.
I think that's a really good point. And I know that might be something even that just might also be achieved through thinking about, like, I know some of the description fields are very short and it is hard to put enough detail to adequately explain. And so I'm curious about even just maybe expanding some of those fields so that you have more space. But that's a good point that Betty and I can think more about too.
Or even a special notes or special things to consider section so that it's highlighted specifically outside of the program description. We can definitely look into that. Sam, did you want to mention professional development entries into the directory? I know somebody asked about that yesterday.
Yeah, that is a great point. So we do have that focus on school day programming, like I said, just because school day program tends to be most equitable, knowing that all students will be at a school during the school day, but schools can also use their Arts Everyday funding to book professional development, so that all staff in the building can grow their toolkit as arts educators and arts integrationists. So also do please feel free if you or your organization offers professional development for teachers. That's a great thing to also put in the directory. And that is, there's an audience search field where schools can check if they're looking for professional development. So that is, thank you, Betty, another good offering to make sure to put in the directory if it's something that you have. Are there any other questions that, like I said, we can either try to answer or write down to come up with an answer and follow up?
And again, this session is being recorded. We will be sharing it out as well as having it on the site, so that you can, review at your leisure and, have access to the slide deck with all the links that are there.
I did have a question. Um, so we signed up last year, but we didn't get any schools. Are you supposed to be guaranteed a placement at a school, or like could you go a year without a school requesting you?
So our bookings, I am, so bookings are just based on what schools are looking for. So there's such a wide variety of programs in the directory, just in an attempt to, like meet the wide variety of needs throughout the district, right? And allow arts and cultural partners to put up the things that are like really in their wheelhouse. I think so. In the past, when we've only had one school partnership model, everyone was creating at the start of the year an arts integration goals plan, and all of the programs that they book were aiming to be in alignment with the arts integration goals they had set for the year. And we will still have those 10 partner schools working under that model. But in addition to that, we'll have schools accessing the Arts Experiences Grant, which is a smaller amount of funding. But like it does not need to relate back to as much big picture planning as the school partnership. And so I am curious to see how that will impact bookings, like if we'll see more variety in bookings, because I think also some of our partner schools have been partner schools for several years, and like they were just like, oh, I know that I like to do this program in the fall and this program in the spring, whereas now I'm excited to see what schools that maybe couldn't access funding before choose now that we have this other option for funding support. I will say also, like if you joined last year and haven't had bookings, like maybe we should put a new partner blog post up to highlight if we haven't already. Or even like, I know some organizations can't attend that Arts and Cultural Partners Provider Fair, but we are going to set out like a wish you were here table for folks who can't attend in person, but maybe want to print like one pagers about their programming, or want to even just like give us a QR code that folks can scan to learn more about their programs. So if it feels like bookings, yeah, if bookings aren't happening, let's maybe connect about a new partner blog post. And again, feel free to share like specific things that I could add like to that teacher letter that I'm sending out and all that good stuff, because we do want to make sure teachers are aware of the great things. I think that's a big hurdle, is that teachers don't even always realize that there's such a great wealth of resources and artists and organizations providing so many things.
Yeah, the directory, the nice thing and the bad thing about the directory is there's a ton of offerings, but it is a lot to sift through. So the nice thing about the new directory is that it's gonna have a feature item option where it'll like at random feature different programs at the top of the list. And so, because we kind of have it set up as alphabetical, so essentially you go in there and there's always those same ones at the top. But we'll have 1 to 2 featured listings that'll just randomly pop up at the top to give that first page a little different exposure. But if you aren't able to make it to table, you can still email me and let me know if you've got any flyers. We can coordinate a drop off or pickup time, and I can get your any of your information so that you're not being left out of that connection with the teachers.
Thank you. Okay, we plan on being there. I just have to email you.
And the other plug that I just want to make, and this is not an AED program, but it's something that the district is working on that I feel really excited about. It's the Partners in Education portal. And this is, again, really, this is Baltimore City specific. And I know a lot of you are working in a much broader realm, but if you wanted to build relationships with more city schools, I feel very excited about the direction this partnership portal is going in, because I think, as we've all experienced, a lot of times it's about like who knows who, and that's how you find out about these cool programs. Whereas the district is rolling out this Partners in Education portal where partners can provide, it's similar to our directory in that it's meant to be all of these school day programs, except it's not just arts, it's a lot of things. It's all these resources that city schools can access, and then city schools each have at least 2 people in the building that access that directory and can search it. So it's principals and community schools coordinators I know have set up accounts, but gradually they're adding teachers as well. And unfortunately, that system was rolled out, I think, just before the pandemic hit. But it's meant to be this really, like, everyone can see all of the opportunities, as opposed to you have to know the right person to know about the opportunity. And if you have not connected with the Partners in Education department at city schools and you're interested in working more with city schools, I would highly recommend. Their team, Kim and Rebecca, are really wonderful and have been great to work with around helping support us and support partners in connecting better with schools.
Thank you.
I am going to stop our recording.